Welcome to Ron and Nick's Best Friend Podcast.
Best friend.
Podcast that
Can't
live without.
There you go.
Can you believe that we would say that?
Yes, you can't live without it. Well,
Okay.
you won't live without it.
You know what? You know how you can tell this is a very professional podcast? I clear my throat while
Yeah.
I'm on the mic.
Yeah. We don't have a cough switch.
Hey, I just want to tell you a couple of people that have joined our podcast that I know about. Josh, I don't know you know who Josh is, but Josh is a young man in his early 20s. He's been there. Seth, you know Seth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of know Seth.
Mm-hmm.
And not my father-in-law, but who would he be? He's
Your daughter's father-in-law.
Yeah,
You talking about Billy?
Yeah, Mr.
Yeah.
Billy.
Yeah, Mr. Billy.
Mr. Billy's in. So good to see
Well,
you.
hey, folks, we're glad that you're with us. I love that our tribe is growing, and I love our tribe. This is fun. It's fun to have a best friend. It's fun to share him, and I'm glad that.
Why don't you tell people what this podcast is about? Because there's people that keep on coming on and they're listening.
Yeah.
Let's just real quick, because we haven't done this. Ron and Nick's Best Friend Podcast. Why is it called that?
It's because you and I both have a best friend that Jesus gave us. His name is the Holy Spirit, the greatest gift that's ever been given. And he really is your best friend. And learning how to talk to him, learning how to be in relationship with him, learning what it's like to live with a best friend who is God, fully present is fascinating and fun. And so we're sharing what we're learning about having a relationship with our best friend.
Someone asked me, we're like in the 90, we're getting close to the 100 episode, and someone asked me, how in the heck can you keep on talking about one subject? And I kind of say, I don't know, it just kind of happens. I'm saying that because we're getting ready to go on a subject, and I don't know where we're going to go with this and where the Spirit's going to lead, but we're gonna try to.
I don't know. That would be like saying you're talking about an infinite personality.
No,
it's not like it's like, well,
That's
I'm going to
true.
run out
Very
of
true.
things to talk about. It's like, well, and even people are like that. Like, do you get bored with the people that you love, or do you love finding out new things about the people that you love? I love it. I love finding out things about you, and finding new ways to relate. It's fun.
we are going to talk about a subject that came up by coincidence, and we've talked about coincidences for the past couple of podcasts that we don't believe in coincidences. Sometimes it's God showing us a certain subject to talk about, at least what I'm talking about. So 3 things happened. I'm not just going to tell you what we're talking about. We're talking about loneliness. Okay? Talking about loneliness. I was, flipping through my phone. I like to look at reels. That's really a bad thing, but I laugh. I go very quickly through them. Anyway, a vexing picture was on one of the reels of an old man, and okay, you got my attention by the picture, and then I listened.
Which is the whole point of a reel.
Well, they did a good job, and so
No, I just have loneliness now.
This is what he says.
Haunting loneliness.
Tell me about that.
No, I don't want to. Nothing to tell, Damon. Just kind of lonely.
Sometimes you're just lonely.
Yeah.
And what do you do to help yourself with the loneliness?
I don't go to bed. I stay up all night. And that makes you feel awful too, so.
Okay, so I listened to that, and it really,
well, thanks for sharing that reel.
yeah.
What's
that?
I'm talking about whoever shared that reel. You go, oh wow,
Yeah,
let's make sure that everybody gets a good dose of that. There you go.
So I listened to it. The picture is vexing. The guy's old. He's talking about loneliness, and I said, "Wow, I never thought about that subject." But I kind of just dismissed it.
Is that the picture you showed me?
Yeah, yeah.
Whew, okay.
And so I went on. So then I had lunch with a gentleman who is a single guy. His wife left, and long story, but he has 2 children. Good-looking guy, very successful guy. From the outskirts, you would think he has it all together, and he does have a lot of things going for him. But then he says this to me. He goes, "Yeah, you don't know how lonely it is to to be with 2 kids and taking care of them. And I'll sit there and I'm changing their diaper or doing something, playing with them. I'm just very lonely at times. I said, oh my goodness, okay, all right, that's 2. Wow. A couple days later, I'm hearing about lonely. And then the subject of our men's group was about isolation and loneliness.
That just came up.
On Monday, yeah. On Monday's group. I said, okay, that's it. We're going to speak about loneliness. So I'm just going to preface it by saying, Holy Spirit, I don't know where we're going. I know this. All of us have experienced loneliness. I don't know how we're going to define it, what it means. I actually wrote this before we met this morning, Ron, because I'm trying to put my head around what loneliness is. And these are the things that popped in my head. No one knows what you're going through. Not wanting to share with someone else what you're going through. You're beyond help in a situation. No one can understand what you're going through. God cannot help. How about that one? You think it's the strong thing to do to hold on to your own loneliness. Or how about this one? You deserve loneliness. That's what you're used to, being lonely. Last one I got is you see no light at the end of the tunnel through your loneliness. Loneliness is a very, here, and I'll just preface it with this, and then you can speak into it or wherever God's leading you, is this. Here's the thing about loneliness, and it's happened to me. You can have people completely surrounding you in your life. You could be in a room full of people, and you could be the loneliest person in there. And no one will understand it. You can't even explain it to someone. It's hard to explain it. So loneliness doesn't mean only being by yourself. It's a state of mind. I don't know. Your thoughts on loneliness, or have you ever spoken to people about loneliness in your counseling, or does that subject ever come up? Or have you ever been lonely?
Yeah, I've been.
I know that. I know.
I've been very lonely times in my life. It made me. This is a really old song. Do you remember this, Bobby Vinton?
I know Bobby Vinton. Yeah.
Lonely, I'm Mr. Lonely. You remember that?
Yeah.
It's like a haunting song. People probably wouldn't remember. That's probably old when my
There's
dad
a lot
was
of songs with lonely.
young.
Only the lonely.
Hey, what is the loneliest number that you ever? Yeah, it's a topic that people obviously think about, write about. Isolation, loneliness, being on your own. Okay, so this is weird, what I'm about to say, and I'm not forcing this in here. This literally has been on my mind. It's coming into my mind. So Sunday night, this coming weekend, my daughter-in-law is going to have a baby, and very excited. First grandchild is going to come into the world. And here's what I was thinking about this week. This is how weird I am. So I'm thinking about this baby being born, and I'm remembering, of course, my baby's being born. And what happens? Well, what happened when I was there is the baby's delivered, and they hand me a pair of scissors, and they say, do you want to cut the umbilical cord? And I say, oh yeah, I don't. And then they show me what to do, and it's weird, man. It's so weird. It's like it's like seeing some alien thing. Right. And like, I know that. Okay, please don't write me letters about how natural it is and everything. I got it. But when you're looking at it, there's nothing natural. There's nothing that feels natural about childbirth when that alien comes out of another human being. It's all covered in goo and
Okay.
Yeah, well, you did that to my son, so I feel like I can do it. So, but here's the thing: cutting the cord, right? You cut the cord. I did this both times, and it occurs to me this is like from that instant, like you were conceived inside somebody else. The fertilized egg immediately attaches to the wall of the uterus, I guess. I'm probably not going to get this exactly right, but immediately starts to be nourished by another human being, and you're absolutely connected. Like that's how you begin. You begin in that state, absolute connection. Like you're not alone. But it's the second that you come out of your mom and you cut the cord, which I guess at the time you cut the cord's already, the placenta's already come loose of the whatever. So it's not actually functioning at that point. But so you've already been disconnected. And now you really are alone. Like you didn't start out alone. You started out connected in a profound way to another human being. But as soon as you come out into the world, you're immediately disconnected. I mean, like physically, violently disconnected. And I was just considering that. I'm thinking about, I don't want to say something corny or whatever about, well, that's why babies cry. I mean, babies cry because they cry. I mean, there's a lot going on when a baby is born. But from then on, there's this thing like you are alone, and you can try to attach to people. You want to, they give you to your mom, and your mom talks to you, and they put you on her chest and whatever. But right from that first moment, you're seeking to reattach. Right? You want to reattach. Isn't that right? Do you hear what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying. Doesn't sound fun. I mean,
right. Disconnected, alone.
Yeah.
Alone. And so what else came to my mind, and okay, I'm just shooting off some random thoughts here.
You're fine.
Is how disorienting it is to think that you're attached to somebody that you're really not attached to. Like there's a feeling like you should be connected to your mom and dad. Like they should see you, they should hear you, they should get you, but you don't connect to them. Very disorienting, very damaging. Like to be in, to think you should have a relationship. Same thing works in marriage.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
So here's what really happens in marriage. Whether you realize it or not, folks, when you got married or when you're getting married, you're standing up in front of witnesses, you're standing up in front of God and people, and you're saying, I'm going to give you my life and I won't take it back. That's what you're saying. I'm going to give you my whole life and I won't take it back. I promise to give you all of my life and I'll never take it back. All right, so that's a human form of, the highest human form of connection.
Right.
Like voluntary connection. I voluntarily connect myself to you. Now, what happens inside of that marriage, and this is why I think a lot of marriages end in divorce, is there's an expectation of connection.
Oh, wow.
Like I should not be lonely. I should not be lonely, right? I said I'm going to give you my life and not take it back, and you said the same thing to me, and now here we sit on the couch together, and you're on your cell phone and I'm on my cell phone, or we're wherever, and we're not connected, and we're alone. And so you're married and you're alone. Like you said about this guy, is he has his kids and he's alone. And you have your job and you're alone. Like all these things do not connect you in the most profound way that you need to be connected, which is like in here, you're still disconnected.
And stay on that. Stay on that subject, but I also want even your children feeling disconnected from your kids, and your kids separating from you for whatever, wayward kid, or doesn't want to hang around his father or mother, or just whatever.
Well, just a kid that moves out.
Okay.
I talked to one of our tribe last night, and who's going through that, leaving home. Like, okay, it's a really good home, but it's really traumatic to leave home. If it's a good home, it's traumatic if you have a bad one. It's traumatic if you have a good one. Look, disconnections is the core of loneliness.
Let's go back to the heart, because I know this is going to be good.
Well, where are you going with it?
I'm going to say this, and it's going to. I shouldn't prejudge my words. I said to myself that I'm really never alone if I just ask the Spirit to be with me. Holy Spirit, I'm never alone. The Spirit lives in me. I know, you know what? And for someone that's suffering through loneliness, that's going to sound like a bunch of bull, what I'm going to say. And maybe, you know,
Not to me, it doesn't.
it doesn't.
The two loneliest times in my life, the two most isolated times where I felt like I was completely cut off, and I was, because one time I was in a foreign country, the other time I was in the midst of a long depression. Both of those times, the thing that broke it was the voice of God, the presence of the Holy Spirit speaking to me from inside out, going like, there's no way that happens without the presence of the Spirit in here. Now that's the secret.
Right.
That's the great thing. That's when Jesus says to the disciples who are getting ready to suffer disconnection, he says, okay, I'm going to go to the cross. Okay, that's going to be a radical, bloody, messy, traumatic disconnection, because they've given up everything to walk with this guy. And now he says, okay, I'm going to the cross. This is going to turn out better for you in the end. And then they watch it, and then he gets killed right before their eyes. And it's traumatic, right? And then he comes back, and he's already said, I'm going to go away, and I'm going to send my Spirit. And then when I do, things are going to be better for you. And now they're getting ready to lose him again. He's saying, no, they're going, okay, we watched you die, and now you're going to leave? You're going to do this to us twice? He said, yeah, it'll be better for you. And they're just like incredulous. That can't be. As a matter of fact, at one point, Peter just says, okay, I'm done with the whole thing. I'm just going to go fishing. I'm just going to go fish because he can't take it, the disconnection. And then Jesus comes and restores him and, talks to him. And now you go, what's going to happen? I'm going to send my Holy Spirit, and he's going to be in you, and he's going to be me. He's going to be
absolutely right.
You're going to be able to have me all the time, and no one can ever take you away from me. You don't ever have to leave home again.
I'm thinking, I said, and I might want to take it back, but I'm not going to take it back. I said, some of you people that are lonely may think it's bull when I say, well, you got the Holy Spirit inside you, and he will speak to you. Let me just, and this is why I said that. We had a guy last week that we asked people to ask the Holy Spirit
the most important
thing they want to know. And he came back with the line, all I hear is ringing in my ear. Mm-hmm. Okay? Honest answer. Well, we challenged different answers last week on what you hear, and one of the things you said is maybe you edited it. He went back and he texted me and he went, wow, WOW, capital letters, wow. I heard him say, I love you.
Right.
So when I said bull, I'm full of malarkey. That's a good word, malarkey. That you're not alone. It reminded me of that one particular gentleman that says, listen, all I hear is ringing in my ears. He tried again. He goes, no, I heard the Spirit of God. And what did he say? I love you.
Yeah. And right then you're reconnected. Like, so you're born for God, but you're born disconnected from God. And that's the thing that is loneliness. I mean, you're living inside here alone, but there is a way. There's a way you don't have to be alone.
Okay, let's end it with this. If someone is suffering right now from loneliness, and we all do, what's a practical thing? We did it last week. I mean, what would you suggest?
The first thing I would suggest is to admit that you're alone, and to ask Jesus,
good.
And to ask Jesus to include you in His life. I mean, that's the most radical thing you can do is like recognize how alone you are and say, I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be alone anymore, and accept God's invitation. We talked about we talked about the marriage being, I give you my life and I won't take it back. The cross is Jesus Christ. The cross is God down on one knee saying, I'll give you my life and I won't take it back. I propose to you that you and me get married. You and me are going to get married, and my life will be your life, and your life will be my life. And I promise I'll never divorce you. I'll never leave you nor forsake you. Will you accept my proposal? Will you accept my proposal? And then when you do that, He puts a wedding ring on your finger, and the wedding ring is the Holy Spirit.
Ooh.
This is the promise.
Ooh, yes.
This is the promise. You put it on. Okay? He puts the ring on your finger. He says, okay, you're mine. And now we have a living wedding ring, a living, alive wedding ring that says to you every time, it talks to you. It says, I'm here. I have you. You're my beloved. Okay, that is, maybe you need to accept Jesus' proposal to become his bride, his beloved. And if you already are, maybe what you need to do is talk to the wedding ring. Speak to it. Say, tell me again. Remind me again. Tell me the most important thing, which is what? I love you. And that's the cure for loneliness. And it's no malarkey.